Hi everyone, my name is Garvey-Long and I am a poet, and I have decided to read all of the winners of the National Poetry Competition and analyse them and talk about them. The National Poetry Competition has been going on since 1978 here in the UK, and it is considered, according to Wikipedia, the Wimbledon of poetry kind of competition. It's like the Grand Slam. It's the one that everybody enters. People from the UK, people in English-speaking countries all over the world, everybody enters it from all over the place, and very few people win, and very few people are on the commended list. Is very much a very sought-after prize. What is the actual prize? It changes from year to year, and I cannot remember what it was this year, so I shouldn't have asked myself that question. So the winner from 1978, the first winner, was Michael Hulse. Michael is a poet I've kind of vaguely heard of, but have not read any of his work. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. So this is the Poetry Society website, and they have all of the poems, all of the winning poems, and the top 3 poems of each year on here. So it's really helpful and useful resource to have. Okay, so this is called Dole Queue. I'm gonna have a sip of water first. This is called Dole Queue. Tom Paine at one time made ladies' corsets, and why not? I too had a job once. I remember on an assembly line. Seems a long time ago. Every fucking Monday I stand here, grow grey-faced, slack. I slouch. What do I care about the law? Ain't got the power, said Cornelius Vanderbilt. Went to bed last night, the wife says. Common sense doesn't stand a chance when you're up against profit. I says to her, you don't want to say that too loud. Can we have the light off now? It's a rip-off, she says. The whole caper. See what it said today in the paper? Go to sleep, glad, I says. Tom Paine refused a seat on the stagecoach, was told by the passengers to fear the Lord's wrath. I wonder at times what has become of justice if some can buy their own. I won't pretend to understand the world. I don't. One night we sat and watched the stars, listened to the cars on the carriageway back to our house. The stars were bright, the night black. Says Glad. Are we landed with a life before death? I think it's a really interesting poem. I think it's very bold of them to have a winner that has fucking, the word fucking in the second stanza. And this is in 1978. So things are a bit different then in terms of acceptable language to be used in public life. And maybe this poem would have been printed in newspapers. It may have been read on Radio 4. I know that's something they do these days. The winner every year goes on Radio 4 and reads the winner. And it's a kind of a big media thing these days. It probably wasn't as big when it first started. It's, for me, a poem with a lot of people in it. Tom Paine is, I believe, Thomas Paine, who is one of the founding fathers of America, who actually was originally from the UK and was originally a stay maker, which was a maker of, as he says, ladies' corsets. It's interesting that the speaker of the poem seems to over-identify with Tom Paine, calling him Tom as well, not Thomas Paine, and kind of thinking like, oh, almost as if he's over-identifying with this potential greatness. And he feels maybe the Dole Queue is his version of being the stay maker, being this ladies' corset maker, and that he has greatness elsewhere that he's not been allowed to find. It is a sad poem. It's very much of the time of the late 70s, when obviously there was a huge unemployment problem due to lots of reasons, but due to probably a very, very poorly managed Labour government and lots of other factors that I don't even understand. It's a strange winner, I think, to be honest. And I was really surprised. I'd not heard this poem before I read it for this, and I was really surprised by it. I think it has within it this sense of sadness, and the wife as well, who I believe is called Glad. So like, which is a classic 70s wife name. It's just that sadness between them, that, you know, the system is rigged against them, and they don't really feel like they've got a chance to have a better life for themselves. And that's kind of, in a way, what America was to a lot of people, especially in the UK in the 70s and 80s. A lot of people did want to move there. They wanted another chance at a different life. And I think having Thomas Paine within the poem really signals that really clearly. And a Vanderbilt. I don't really know much about Cornelius Vanderbilt because I've not looked him up, but I imagine maybe he's one of those eccentric American billionaires, I think. I should have looked that up before I started recording this. The end, though, is got that beautiful, really like a properly poetic moment with them looking at the stars on the carriageway back of our house. The stars were bright, the night black. Why, says Glad, are we landed with a life before death? So it's this idea of, you know, they really regret the lot they've been given. I love also that it's shortened to Glad, which I think is very specific for the poet to do, and also kind of a bit funny that she's obviously quite an angry person, kind of resentful about the situation they're in, but he calls her Glad, and I think that's nice. So yeah, I think form-wise, it kind of, we don't really have any end rhymes. Well, we've got said in bed there. We're off and off. I don't think at this time it would have be seen as quite old-fashioned to have proper full-on end rhymes. But I think these stanzas, these 4-line stanzas, look quite old-fashioned to me, even for the late 70s. For me, I think as well, physically, we have these singular stanzas like that, like people in a queue. That's kind of what I think is going on there. So they're each individual people waiting in this Dole Queue. But it's funny that we don't actually talk about the Dole Queue. It's more about the man's experiences, maybe the man's wandering mind while he's in the Dole Queue. Okay. So yeah, those are my thoughts about Dole Queue by Michael. Those are my thoughts about Dole Queue by Michael Hulse. I think it's a really interesting poem. I'm really glad I read it because I had not heard of it before. And I wouldn't have read it if I didn't decide to do this challenge to read all of the winners of the National Poetry Competition from the beginning in 1978, several years before I was born, excuse me, of course. Yeah, I haven't looked into any more of Michael Hulse's work, but I will definitely give him a go and see if I can get something from the National Poetry Library, which is an incredible resource. Please remember that there are local libraries wherever you are, and if we don't use them as a resource, then they will not be funded. So please continue to use them or start using them, because they are brilliant, and librarians are amazing people. I think that's all I need to say. I'm not going to do it in order. I'm going to kind of skip around a bit. So, because I think it'd get a bit boring if I just did 1979 next time. So, who knows what year we will be talking about next time. Thank you so much for watching. Look me up. I'm a poet. I'm also a life coach. Garvey-Long.com, Instagram, edis_poet, Twitter, edis. Find me online, engage with me, talk to me. Thanks so much. Sorry I've had a croaky throat. Bye.